You to leverage everything you're learning. I don't care if you're flipping burgers or managing billion-dollar portfolios. There is a valuable lesson in every employment opportunity. David and I both leveraged what we learned from our jobs to build our businesses. So don't go in there disrespecting those people. Just go in there knowing that that's not your freedom tool.
The way I approached it while I was working at my job was I knew that my job was using me to make money. Your job's using you, right? They didn't hire you because they like you and they rock with you like that. They hired you because they're using you. Well, what I found out is that a job will not even use you if you can't give them a 3 or 4x on their return. So if your job pays you $50,000, that means you have to be making them at least $200,000. Which means you're valuable at least $200,000. So whatever your job pays you, multiply that by 4, that's your current value in the marketplace. But I understood that my job was using me, so my thought to myself is I have to use my job more than my job's using me. So I would come in and they would pay me to be there, but I get an opportunity to go to the table every single day and sell them stuff. I want to sell you an appetizer. You're saying no, but my objective is to get you to buy it. Because I know if I can't get you to buy a $10 appetizer, it's going to be really hard for me to sell you a $25 t-shirt later. So my job was paying me to practice my sales skills. If you got one drink and you finish and I say, would you like another drink? And they say no, that's not the end of the conversation. Because my objective is to get you to buy another drink. Because a couple things. One, I understand if I can get you to buy another drink, I'm getting better at persuasion. And I'm going to persuade people to buy my t-shirt. The second thing is I just understood that I had a goal and I had to figure out, okay, how much do I have to make in tips to be able to invest this amount of money in t-shirts? And I know that every $10 drink is going to give me a 20% return on the tip. If the drink is $10, that's an extra $2. So me being able to sell you on getting another drink means I'm going to make another $2 because we're operating about a 20% tip. Y'all follow me? But I use my job to become better. I promise you, I can almost pinpoint when I was starting the exit of my job. Not that I left the next day. It took a 2.5, 3-year journey. I was there 6 years. But once I realized that I'm going to be using this job, I stopped complaining about my job. And I got excited to go to work because, man, this place is going to pay me again to get better at being an entrepreneur. Isn't that amazing? Yeah. My objective is if I'm off that day, someone comes and says, hey, I want to sit in David's section. And they say, well, David's not here. My objective is for that person to leave and say, I didn't come to the Cheesecake Factory. I came to see David. That's my objective. I'm trying to retain. I'm building relationships. My objective was building relationships while I was working at the Cheesecake Factory. I have so many people that would invite me to their home, that would invite me to their house, invite me to their parties. Because I'm building relationships. And people are like, yo, how do you build relationships? I started at the Cheesecake. They paid me to learn that skill. But because you may spend so much time complaining and waking up, oh my gosh, I can't believe I have to come here again. I'm like, yo, I'm about to go meet with my investor. How you get mad at a meeting with your investor? Every day.
Can I be honest?
It's just the mindset. Yes.
I hated my job. I complained every
So I made more money last year.
Day. I complained every single day about going to my job. You did, though. And I think it's important to understand both perspectives. You don't have to have a shift where you love the job. David loved going into his job. I hated going into my job. I used to play this song. Anybody familiar with 8Ball and MJG? I used to play this song every day at a point when I knew, like, this is about to be a rap. Don't make me kill no muck body in here. I'ma shoot 3 shots. Somebody that made me hot. I played that song.
What song is that? I don't know.
Every
I've been singing.
single
I don't listen.
day. However,
What song is that? I don't know.
every
I've been singing.
single
I don't listen.
day. However, the way Dave used his joy to go in and meet with his investors, I used my hatred to fuel me. I hated those people. I did, because they treated me so poorly. No matter how good I performed, they treated me like crap. No matter how much money I made them, I was never good enough. I was always the token black girl who was gonna come in, and they made me feel like the quota that had to be satisfied. I hated them. And I left my last job in spite of them. But I did leverage everything that they taught me, and I internalized it as investments. I worked in property management. I learned everything. And I ended up building my own property management company as a result of because those people weren't coming into that building necessarily for that building. They were coming because of the same thing, their shared experience with me, right? The same people whose asset I managed denied me the opportunity, Myron, to live in that building. I made enough money between my job and my business to live in that building. Now, I don't know who all we got in the room, but no offense to anybody, there were 2 white girls who worked for me. I was the same person who signed off on their leases to live in that building with no problem. They didn't make half of what I earned. But then I said, I want to live in the building. I'm coming in here and I'm seeing these people and I'm approving these people. I make what they make. I can live in this building. And I took my application to my boss and said, I want to live in the building too. I want the same 30% discount that I just approved for them. And my boss said, oh, well, we've ended that program. We don't do that anymore. And I said, okay, well then what program do we have in place now? And they said, well, you got to make 3.5 times the monthly rent. You got to qualify via credit. And they knew that what they paid me on that job was not 3.5 times the monthly rent. But what they didn't know that what I earned in my business plus my job would qualify me. And I talked to my mom and I was going back and forth. And she said, why would you even want to live there with those people who treat you like that? It was a condominium building that you could rent or you could own. And I said, you know what? You're right. So I walked into that job one day and I gave them my 2-day notice. Today, you are going to learn that I will not be here tomorrow. And then I brought my mom to that same building to tour property. Because I will not work for you, but y'all are about to serve me now. And I'm not gonna rent from the building, the management. I'm not putting any money in your pockets, but I am gonna live in the building. And I ended up moving into this building, not just moving into the building, but I also ended up moving my mother into the building. So you're gonna serve her too. I used my hatred for the people and my job. And my mom used to get on me every year for as long as you get fired from every job, Nitra. It's not them, it's you. And one day I had to say, you're right. It is me. I am bigger than this. I am unemployable. I am nobody's budget plan. I had to make those decisions. And I really, really, really want you guys to get this because it can't just be, I want to leave my job. I want to leave my job and do what?
We're talking serious income. And the way that they do that.
You don't need a real estate license?
Don't need a license.
Don't need.
I'm qualified to leave my job because of what? I'm going to take what pieces from this job and apply it to what? How am I going to leverage this job no matter how I love it or how I hate it and make myself a better person? Who is relying on me to do just that? Whose life is going to change because my decisions change.
You didn't win this conference. All right, give her a round of applause, please. So look, we actually have to